For the love of history, industrialization, labor, and life. The Industrial Revolution was a time of immense change that affected not only business and money, but also the very fabric of society. Prior to this revolution, Europe was predominantly made up of farmers and craftsmen, with life remaining relatively unchanged since the Middle Ages. However, with the advent of industrialization, everything shifted. People's way of living, working, and even starting families underwent complete transformation. This revolution first took hold in Great Britain during the 1700s, where small villages were the norm and travel was limited. As the population grew, farmers had to adopt machines to increase food production, leading to the privatization of land that was once shared by all. This displacement made life harder for the poor, who relied on that land for survival. Consequently, many people left the countryside and flocked to cities in search of work. Factories sprouted up rapidly, particularly in cities like Manchester and Leeds, causing the urban population in Britain to skyrocket from 20% in 1800 to 50% by the mid 1800s. Western European countries experienced similar growth, albeit at a slower pace. These changes completely upended the traditional way of life that had persisted since the medieval times. The impact of the new urban industries on society was profound. Skilled artisans who had previously crafted most of Europe's goods found themselves replaced by factory based machine industry. With the introduction of coal fired engines and other machines, work became faster and more efficient. However, this progress came at a cost. Workers were forced to endure long hours in dangerous conditions, such as factories and coal mines. As the 19th century progressed, manufacturing expanded further, not only in Europe, but also in the United States and other parts of the world. Companies capable of large scale production gained an advantage in international trade, rendering older, slower methods obsolete. One of the most detrimental effects of these changes was felt within families. In the past, families worked together on farms or in shops, with everyone contributing to the family's income. In 18th century Great Britain, it was common for both men and women to work from home, engaging in tasks like spinning and weaving for merchants. This system, known as the putting out system, allowed families to remain together. However, as factories and cities grew, men had to leave their families behind in search of employment. Even when families managed to stay together, the demanding nature of industrial jobs left little time for quality interactions. Women played a significant role in the workforce during the era of industrialization. Unmarried women often worked as domestic servants, while British women, including mothers, found employment in textile mills to support their families financially. Child labor was prevalent in the textile industry, as young workers were valued for their ability to handle delicate machinery. Despite their importance, women and children were paid meager wages and subjected to long hours of work, sometimes up to 16 hours a day. Their contributions were undervalued compared to those of their male counterparts, despite facing equally hazardous working conditions. The United States experienced similar social changes due to industrialization. After gaining independence from England in the 1770s, the country saw a shift from agriculture to manufacturing. The imposition of an embargo on foreign imports and the British blockade during the War of 1812 encouraged domestic production. By the 1830s, the United States had become a major economic power. Traditional home based production and artisan crafts gave way to wage labor in larger machine powered factories, with textile industry leading the way. Industrialization, coupled with advancement in transportation, fueled the growth of U.S. cities and rapidly expanding market economy. It also led to the formation of a sizable working class, which eventually sparked labor struggles and strikes led by both men and women. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, countries like Britain and the United States began addressing the terrible conditions in factories through discussion and legislation aimed at improving worker treatment. Unfortunately, as other countries embraced industrialization in the 20th and 21st centuries, similar exploitative working conditions emerged. The consequences of industrialization extended beyond the workplace, negatively impacting families and communities. These effects continue to be felt today, even in our so called post industrial era.